Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Faith. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to be recreating a look I saw on Megan Fox that I thought was perfect for this time of year. It reminded me of fall because of the orangey tones on the eyes and kind of on the lip, and I love that it's a super natural look. It's a look that has no falsies and it's really easy to achieve. I recently recreated a look by Kylie Jenner and asked you guys in the comments to give me suggestions on who next I should recreate a look from, and a lot of you guys did say Megan Fox. There were also a lot of Kim Kardashian and J-Lo, which I have on my list of things to do, so I will try to get to that. But I found this look to be super inspiring to me, and I also just, again, loved how simple and effortless it was. This is the look right here. Don't mind my cracked phone case. I plan to go to the Verizon store today and get a new iPhone. I'm thinking I might get the 8 Plus, but a lot of you guys have told me to get the 10. I asked you guys on Instagram what I should get, so I'm still kind of debating. But anyways, this is the look. You probably saw it in the thumbnail, but I wanted to show it to you again. How do you think I did? I think I did pretty good. So let's get right on into the video so you can see in depth this tutorial and how we created this look. Going to start with the skin today. This is not a super intense eyeshadow look, so I think we will be safe if we do our foundation first. I don't think our eyeshadow will mess it up or anything. I have found a new primer that I really love. It's from Paula's Choice, so it's kind of like a skincare and primer in one. It's a smoothing primer with SPF 30, and it has some sort of active ingredients in it that are supposed to help your skin. It really smooths out the skin. It's like a typical silicone feeling primer, but it works better than any primer like that I have ever tried. For foundation, I'm going to be using my current favorite, which is the Lancome Teint Idol. I hope I'm saying that right. I talked about this in my fall favorites video. It is my favorite foundation right now, and it's more of a satin to matte finish, which typically I don't use. I'm more of a dewy foundation girl, but I've been really liking this, and it works perfect for this look, which is more matte. I use the shade 310, and I put 2 pumps on my Sigma flat top kabuki brush. It's the F80, and I just blend this all in. For concealer, I'm going to use the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I'm using the shade Vanilla. I really like this concealer. I've been using it a little bit more than my Tarte Shape Tape. The real difference I see between this one and the Tarte Shape Tape is that this one is a little bit easier to blend. It's not as matte and drying. It still is matte once you blend it out, but the Tarte Shape Tape can be pretty like drying. And this one doesn't give as much coverage, which I'm okay with for today because this is a more natural look. If you want intense coverage, if you have really dark circles or scarring or anything like that, I still would recommend the Tarte Shape Tape over this product. But for this video and for more natural skin looks, I've been liking to use the Too Faced one. So I'm just going to blend that all out with my sponge. This is the AOA sponge that I get on shopmissa.com. It's literally $1 and it is the best sponge ever. It's the perfect like squishy consistency, or I don't know how you would describe it, but it's just perfect. I do still use my Real Technique sponges for powder, which you'll see later, but in terms of liquid products, this is my favorite sponge to use. I do take the excess concealer and put that on my lids. This will cancel out any redness you might have on your lids and also create a nice base for the eyeshadow. Next, I want to set my concealer and foundation with a powder. I'm going to use the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I've been loving this as well. I think this was also in my fall favorites, but I also think it's perfect for this look because, again, this look is very matte and this powder is super matte. So I'm going to take my Real Technique sponge. This has not been wet. It's a dry sponge. This is just my personal preference. I prefer to use a dry sponge to apply my powder, and I get a really good amount on there. And I'm going to stamp a lot underneath the eyes and kind of do like a little bit of baking. And then I'll take whatever is left in my cap on a big fluffy brush and dust that over my whole face. You guys may know if you watch my tutorials a lot that normally I would set my whole face with my Bare Minerals, what's it called? Bare Pro foundation powder. The reason I'm not doing that today is A, because I have run out of it and I don't have the right shade, but B, because that foundation powder is almost on the creamy, like dewy side, and I want this look to be extremely matte. Like I want my skin to look very, very matte, so that's why I'm going to use this powder today. But on an everyday basis, I normally would use the Bare Minerals Bare Pro foundation powder to set the rest of my face. So like I said, I'm going to take my big fluffy powder brush into the cap and pick up whatever is left and just lightly dust this over the face. This ensures that our foundation will stay in place, and it will make sure that any contouring or blush or anything we put on the face won't stick. I'm gonna leave a little bit under there, a little bit of that powder still under there, so that when we do the eyeshadow, it doesn't create any fallout on our foundation. We can just swipe that away. Before I do eyeshadow, I do want to do my brows. I like to do my brows before eyeshadow because it gives me a nice frame. It kind of shows me what my eyes are going to look like and just helps me figure out where I want my shadow to go. So I'm first going to go in with the Benefit Brow Contour Pro. This I like to use when I want my brows to be pretty dark, and Megan's brows are definitely dark and very defined. So I'm going to use this in the center of my brow, and then I'm going to take the Anastasia Brow Wiz and use this to create more precise hair-like strokes around this. So this Brow Contour Pro from Benefit, I have the shade Brown Black, so it's like the darkest brown shade. So I'm going to take that dark brown shade and run this through, like I said, the center of my brow. I can't really use this pen for precise strokes. It's just too creamy and thick, but I do love the color, and I love how it adds definition to the inner portion of my brow. It also just speeds up the process because it deposits so much color right in that middle portion. Whenever I'm done with this step, I feel like I'm from the 90s, like those 90s thin brows. That's funny. So next I'm going to take the Anastasia Brow Wiz in dark brown, and it's a much more precise little pencil. And I'll start towards the front. I do have a full dedicated brow tutorial if you're interested. I am going to do my brows a little bit differently today than I normally would, just to match Megan's. You'll see, actually let me show you here, her brows. Even though her hair is covering, I can tell her brows are definitely more rounded. They're not super sharp. I normally do like soft in the front, but then I do make the tail pretty sharp. So today I'm going to make that a little bit more rounded. However, as I was saying, if you are interested in an in-depth brow tutorial on how I normally do my brows, I do have one. All you have to do is just either look on my channel or go in the search bar and type in Faith Drew brow routine or something like that, and you should be able to find it. So again, I'm rounding this out, and I will round it out on the top instead of making it pretty sharp. She does have a few little hairs right in here that I want to create. I really don't have a lot of brow to work with, so I have to do this step. If you have full brows, then you don't even really need to do this, but... Okay, that was not easy. I don't know if I did them perfectly. I'm just so used to creating that arch that I think I still did a little bit, but it's close enough. I pulled out the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette because I noticed Megan had kind of like an orangey, rusty shade on her lower lash line and in the crease, and this shade right here, Eccentric, looked perfect for that. So this is really what I'm going to use mostly, but I do want to start with the shade Base and put that all over the lid and eye area and just give us a nice base for this look. I'm going to bring it all the way up to the brow because it does look like she has a matte brow bone highlight, like a light shade on her brow bone. Okay, I just want to take a look at her eyes one more time before I actually go in and start working in there. So she definitely has that orangey shade all underneath here and in the crease, and then it does look like there's a little bit of defining and like a darker shade right along the lash line, and that's basically it. This is a super nice, easy look. This is kind of like a nice everyday fall look. So I'm going to take this pencil brush from Sigma. It's the E30, and I'm going to go into the eccentric shade. I'm first going to get this going. Actually, let me swipe away what we've got going on here. I'm going to take this underneath the eyes first, because this was really the focal point of the look in my opinion. I want to get that down first. Normally I wouldn't do the lower lash line first, but this is what I really noticed in the look, so I want to get it down so I can base everything off of that. Okay, I'm going to take some of that eccentric shade and also put that up in the crease. I think I need a different brush for this. I'm going to go in with the Delium Tapered Blending Brush. It looks like this. It's just a bigger, fluffier brush. It won't be so defined, which is what I'm looking for. So just get that in the crease and blend. Really diffuse this out. It's not very deep on her. It's more of like a wash of color. So I'm probably not even going to dip back into that shade. I'm just going to use whatever was on my brush and diffuse that all out. Okay, that's about it for the crease. Now I want to take something along the lash line. I think the perfect shade is this one right here, Volatile. It kind of looks like it was more of a cool toned brown that she had going on the outer portion of her lash line. So I'm going to take kind of like an eyeliner brush. This is actually a brow brush from Delium, but I really like it for eyeliner. And I'm just going to take that into this brown shade, which again is called Volatile, and just stamp that right along the outer lash line. Then what I'm going to do is take that pencil brush and go back over where we stamped it, because it was super diffused. It was not really noticeable. It just looked kind of hazed. This will also tie in that orangey shade with whatever is left on this brush. And the great thing about this look as well is it does not appear that Megan is wearing any false lashes, so that's another reason I loved this look, because I wanted to give you guys who don't wear false lashes a tutorial that doesn't require them. I mean, no tutorial really requires them, but this one specifically is a no lashes sort of look. So I have two mascaras I've been loving to go back and forth with. The first is the Glossier Lash Slick. I'm going to use this on my lower lashes because this will never get clumpy on you. It's amazing. And then for my top lashes, I'm going to use the Lancome Grandiose Extreme Lash Mascara. And this stuff is awesome. This will really thicken up the lashes. I also love that this is like an angled brush. It makes it so easy. And again, it's nice and thickening. It doesn't get too clumpy, but it does give you like a few good clumps at the base of the lash, which I don't mind. I actually like that. I think it gives definition to the lash line and the root of the lash. Such a big difference already, and that's just one coat. Let me zoom you guys in just a little bit. Such a big difference between this one and this one, and it's just this mascara. It's been my absolute favorite. Okay, I'm going to go over with one more coat. If you ever get mascara on your lid like I just did, take your spoolie, just go right over it. It's kind of an unpleasant feeling, I'm not gonna lie, but it gets it right off. Okay, and then for lower lash, like I said, I'm going to use the Glossier Lash Slick. You can tell even just by the spoolie, the bristles, whatever you call it, that it really limits the clumpiness. So next I would normally go pretty crazy with bronzer and put a lot of bronzer on my face, but Megan very clearly did not have bronzer on her forehead or nose or anything. It was a very pale look, which I actually love for fall, especially with the lip that she had on. But I do want to add a tiny bit of contour just to the cheeks because her cheekbones are so beautiful. I'm going to use the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Matte Bronzer. One, because it's matte, and two, because it's a nice cool tone. I'm going to do this very lightly, just with my Duo Fiber Face shading brush from Delium. And just, like I said, extremely lightly. That's literally all I'm going to do. Do a tiny bit of contouring. And that's it. She did have a nice flush of color on her cheeks that was pretty similar to the orangey sort of eye look that was going on. So I have one of the new blush palettes from Carity. It's their Blush Bomb in Coral Kaboom, because I thought that this matte blush shade right here, it's called Gorgeous, kind of has that orangey look to it that I thought would go well with this look. So I'm just going to take my Real Techniques blush brush. These blushes are extremely pigmented, so I'm going to start as light as possible. See, I had almost nothing, and look at all that color. These are really nice. So I think that's perfect. It goes with that eye look really nicely, kind of like a monochromatic look. I am going to use, though, the highlight in this palette. It did look like she had a little bit of highlight on her nose, and it's hard to tell her cheekbones if she did or not, so I'm just going to put some on there. This is the shade Perf. Each Blush Bomb palette from Carity has 2 blushes and a highlight. This one is so pretty. I'm not going to use setting spray today because I don't have a matte one, and all my setting sprays make me look dewy. So please, if you want, use a matte setting spray, but I'm not going to. I'm saying that because normally before highlight I would apply some setting spray. But actually for this look, her highlight was so subtle to begin with. I think it's actually a good thing that I'm not using setting spray before, because I think it would make it too intense. She did seem to have some sort of highlight going down the center of her nose, so I'm just gonna go right down like that. And then the last step is lips. I love how simple this look is. Like, this is definitely an everyday fall sort of look. So her lips were very matte, and they were very like orange nude sort of shade. Let me pull this up again. I love this shade. Sorry, I'm charging my phone. Love that shade. So the 2 products I'm going to use to try and achieve that are actually just lip liners. I love using lip liners for an overall matte look. They stay on forever, and they're nice and matte. So I pulled 2 shades from NYX. NYX is so affordable, and their lip liners are super great. The first one is Pumpkin, which I love because this is a fall look. It's an orangey shade, but I think this is a little bit too orange, so I'm going to tone it down with my favorite lip liner from them, which is the shade Natural. This is like my everyday lip liner. So I'm first going to go in with Pumpkin and then see how much we need to tone that down. I am going to fill in a little bit with this Pumpkin shade, just kind of tapping it lightly on. And I do think that that is a little too bright, so I am going to tone it down with the shade Natural. So that is the finished look, you guys. What do you think? Do you like this natural fall makeup look inspired by Megan Fox? I really love it. I think it's a perfect everyday fall sort of look. I love that there's no falsies. I love that the eyeshadow portion is really easy. And I love that you have a little bit of pop of fun with the lip. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And let me know down below in the comments who else you would like me to recreate a look by. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!